Welcome to today's show, Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Burgess, passionate, inspirational speaker, author, poet, and entrepreneur. Good morning, and welcome to Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count. I want to give a great big thank you to those of you who are listening today, and I want to give a great big shout out to all of you listening all around the world. I'm delighted and so grateful that you tuned in. I sure hope you're enjoying a fabulous day today and that you're having a fantastic week, because you know what? In the grand song of the universe, life is so very short. It's short and sweet, and so precious. So I hope that you're making a difference in your own life, because when you do, you also make a difference in someone else's life. Now, a lot of folks really want to make their life count for something, but they don't know how to do it, or it seems so big to them they don't know where to begin. So they ask me, Dr. Gloria, how do you do that? How do you make your life count? Well, it's really very simple, very simple. You make your life count day by day, step by step, moment by moment, every single day, 365, 24/7. You can make your life count by simply being there for someone who needs the sweet, lovely fragrance of your presence. Hey, maybe they just need you to listen to them talk about their day, or about how their mom or dad is doing. Or maybe they need to talk about their relationship with their 15-year-old daughter. Not just talk to anybody, but they need to talk to you, because you listen with a smile in your heart. You listen without having to give advice. You listen because you really care. You make your life count by the simple, loving things that you do for someone. You make your wife a cup of her favorite tea, not because she asked you to, but because you know it's her favorite, and because you know her love language. Or maybe you play her favorite CD, and then you go for a nice, long walk with her. Or maybe it's your week, your turn to take 15 or 30 minutes to just go through your closet, and you pull out your gently used blouses or shirts, your gently used slacks and sweaters, and you fold them and take them to your local Goodwill or charity store, or maybe it's a consignment store. And then you take whatever you earn and you buy food to give to your local food bank. Or maybe you love children like I do. You read a story to a little boy or girl. After all, to them, attention is spelled Love, right? To make a difference, you don't have to do anything fancy or extraordinary. You don't have to be a superhero or superheroine. You simply have to have a heart full of love. You simply serve others without any expectation of return. Now, for some of you, maybe it's time to pick a handful of fresh herbs from your deck or garden and give them to a neighbor. Or maybe it's that kind of weather where you bake a batch of cookies and you take them to a nursing home. Give some to your mom when you visit her. Give some to the staff. Hey, you could even call a friend or write them a note and enclose a few stamps or a bag of tea. My sister has Bible study with my mom because my mom can no longer attend church regularly. Another sister calls my mom every single day just to say hello to her and tell her how much she loves her. Me? Well, I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book about a time in my family's life that just changed everything. My mom and dad were very young. So what's my point? It's simply this. You make a difference with what you can, with who you are, day by day, every day of your life. You make a difference by being grateful for who you are. being grateful for family and friends, and by counting your blessings. And we go beyond simply counting our blessings so that we be a blessing, so that we are a blessing. I know last week I finished teaching a class for leaders who want to take their faith into their workplace, not as pastors or preachers or rabbis or anywhere in the church or synagogue or mosque. These leaders want to take their faith into the nonprofit arena, into education, into the corporate world. They work as educators, policemen, firefighters. They work as agency directors for mental health clinics, leaders on school boards. They're leaders in the military. Some of them work with our youth. All of these folks are about making a difference. Now, I say all of this because just like you and me, sometimes they get so focused on making a difference in somebody else's life that they tend to forget about themselves. I mean, that's what usually happens when you're focused on serving, when you're focused on passing it on, when you're focused on giving back. So for those of you who are born to serve, we must remember that one of the best ways to make a difference is to take good care of yourself so that you can serve with a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy soul. Remember, how we live is how we serve or teach or parent or lead in any aspect of our lives. So remember to take care of yourselves every single day, 365, 24/7. Okay, today it's time to step back and listen in. It's time to hit the pause button on your life. And I want you to imagine that we're in the same room, the kitchen or the den or the living room, and I'm sitting across a table. I'm sitting across the table from you. I'm pouring you a cup of tea or coffee or maybe a smoothie. And we're about to have a small sip of what matters. Today's show is about one of my favorite people on the planet. And her name is Gwendolyn Brooks. This year, we celebrate her centennial, 100 years. Her life is what Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count is all about. You can learn more about Legacy Living, Make Your Life Count by visiting the Gloria Burgess website. That's Gloria, B as in boy, URGESS.com. That's the Gloria Burgess website, GloriaBurgess.com, or by visiting Facebook at facebook.com/DR as in Dr. Gloria Burgess, PhD /. Today's show is all about the power of one. The power of one person who can be the difference, who makes the difference in a person's life. Now, most of us know Ms. Brooks as a marvelous poet. I know her as a kind, gentle, smart, fiercely caring human being. For me, she was the one person who made a difference in my life at a time in my life when I really needed it. Now, I know that all of you want to make a positive difference in our world, to make your life count, to make your life matter. But sometimes you're not sure how to make that happen. Maybe you find yourself thinking, I'm only one little person. How can what I do make a difference in somebody else's life? I think it's because it's hard to comprehend. It's hard to understand just how much impact one person can really have. Fortunately, I've met many folks who have been that one person for me, who've made a difference for me. In fact, many people have been my one, right? They've made such a difference in a particular season of my life. Now, maybe for a very short season, and yet their impact rippled far beyond the few months or weeks or days or even a few hours when I was graced by that person's presence. Gwendolyn Brooks was one of those individuals for me who made a difference, who made a significant difference in my life. She was there at just the right time, at just the right place, in just the right season of my life. In fact, I had the good fortune to meet Miss Brooks not once but twice. And on both occasions, although they were many years apart, on both occasions her impact on me was absolutely profound. I'll share a bit about my life-changing encounter with her and the remarkable difference she made in my life. But first, let me tell you a bit more about this amazing artist and poet. Gwendolyn began writing and publishing when she was very, very young. By the time she was 11 years old, that's right, 11, she had 4 poems published. And before she turned 30, she had achieved national acclaim for her poems in a collection called A Street in Bronzeville. In 1950, when Brooks was 33 years old, she became the first African-American poet to win the Pulitzer Prize. How about that? And she won it for a book of poems called Annie Allen. Annie Allen. Gwendolyn Elizabeth Brooks was born in Topeka, Kansas. Now, when she was still a baby, her family moved from Kansas to Chicago during what we now call the Great Migration, right? She remained in Chicago for the rest of her life, and her writings reflect the rhythms, the melodies, and cadences of her neighbors and her neighborhood. Like many African Americans coming of age during this time in the United States, Miss Brooks experienced the bitter sting of racial prejudice and bigotry. Her experiences shaped and fortified her, and her writing reflects all the social forces, the social dynamics that prevailed at that particular time in the United States. So, who is Gwendolyn Brooks? She's not her accomplishments. Who is this person? Now, you can imagine, as I'm doing the research for this show, I came across many, many publications that listed Miss Brooks' amazing achievements, but only a few, a precious few, captured the essence of the person, and fewer still of the Gwendolyn Brooks that I knew. Gwendolyn Brooks, the woman who looked like she could be one of my neighbors, the woman who could have been one of my aunties, the woman who had a heart for young people, a heart for school children and gang members who she would hang out with to learn about them, to learn from them, and to give them instruction. She had a heart for those who lived behind prison bars and would often read to prisoners. She taught them to love poetry. She taught them to write poetry. This is the woman who, when I heard her read her amazing poems, I realized that her voice could have been my voice. For she echoed my love for sweet music, for language, my love for colorful, imaginative words, my love for people, my love for justice for all people, not just a few, my love for standing up for those we care about, standing with those who have no one else to stand with them.